Okay, don't get me wrong here. I love the big paying jobs. I mean, the money's lovely, right? But there is so much more to this, the voiceover business, than the money. Hear me out. Okay, I had a directed session this morning, and I love directed sessions. They're usually at least a very pleasant experience. You kind of chit-chat for a moment, you get a little, those few pleasantries in and maybe establish a rapport. That's what it's all about. You kind of feel each other out, especially if you've never worked with this person before. Many times, it goes beyond being pleasant, and it's really fun. Especially if whoever you're working with has a good sense of humor and, you can both delight in when you screw up or something, which I do frequently, okay? Because it's supposed to be fun, this job. Once in a while, directed sessions can be frustrating. Not often, and it's usually because that rapport that I was talking about, it's a little harder to establish. Sometimes the producer who's ever directing you isn't used to working with actors, with voice talent. Sometimes it's when you're being directed by committee. It's 2, 3, or more people on the line with you. And sometimes they haven't talked amongst each other before going into the session to agree on the direction. So people are like throwing out different ideas that are wildly different from one another as to the direction they want you to take with this. So that can be a little frustrating when you're just kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs, waiting for them to come to a consensus about how you should perform. Okay. But that's rare. I can probably count on one hand how many sessions like that I've had. The rest have been great. Love them. So anyway, today I was working with a producer that I had never worked with before, so there was no real sense of expectation. He was not the one who booked me, as far as I know. I don't even know if he chose me. Well, somebody on his team chose me and said, "You'll be working with this person." Okay. So I got on the line, and right away he was busy at our appointed time. I was like, oh boy, here we go. So he just had to finish up his conversation, and then I had his full and undivided attention. So we were doing a commercial for a small HVAC company. I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that because I don't have permission. I just want to tell this story. And it was a small shop, mom and pop shop, and they were trying to take their business to the next level, maybe make it regional. So he was looking for something that was excited but still relatable and real sounding. And apparently I was the backup guy. The first voice talent that they had, for one reason or another, didn't quite capture what they were looking for. So I was like, oh, okay, no pressure. No. Anyway, so not that information didn't really change how I had envisioned my performance for this. But, it was good to know. And so we said, yeah, well, why don't I just, it's kind of the usual thing. Let me start off with a read, and then I'll take redirections, So I start in, and I flub immediately. Classic. And so I said, oh, sorry, let me restart. So I did, and I read through it, 30-second spot, no big deal. And this is what I heard when I was done. But you'll hear my last sentence, and then you'll hear his reply. You can always expect a higher level of service.
Well, I guess we're done.
How delightful. One take. And that's not the first time this has happened to me. I mean, I don't mean to brag, but yeah, sometimes it goes like this. And it's delightful. Now, this was not a high-paying job by any stretch of the imagination. Not at all. But that's so cool when you're working with a stranger and you kind of get a sense for one another, and you give them one read just as a kind of to establish a baseline. The expectation is to go from there and whittle it into whatever, the perfect take is, and bang, over the fence the first try. That feels great. And and it's the performer in me that loves that. Like, when I've been on stage, when the crowd responds with applause or whistles or hey or whatever, that feels great. And that's essentially, that's what he was giving me here. And there's no substitute for that. Not even a big paycheck. A big paycheck feels good. Don't get me wrong. Like I said in the beginning, I love that, but there's no substitute for that. It feels great. It's made my day, and I'm going to carry that through my weekend. I was able to knock it out of the park for this guy. And the bigger picture is that he's probably going to remember me and come back to me. So I hope to hear from him again, of course. Anyway, it's the small wins that really win. And that's all I wanted to say. It's a Friday afternoon. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm Jan Anderson. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll be back again soon, I'm sure. Take it easy.